This Jerusalem Post podcast is supported by third-party advertising. Welcome to the J-Post headlines. These are the top stories today for Thursday, July 31st, 2025. Canada announces plans to recognize Palestinian statehood, prompting backlash from President Trump. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff lands in Israel to meet Netanyahu for hostage talks, as the U.S. Senate rejects resolutions blocking arms sales to Israel. Ministers and settler groups demand a tour of northern Gaza to explore settlement opportunities. And Indonesian textbooks show a major shift towards tolerance and inclusivity. Recorded in the J-Post studios in Jerusalem, I'm your host, Shifra Jacobs. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that Canada will recognize Palestinian statehood at the upcoming 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September. Carney emphasized that the recognition was contingent on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to necessary reforms. These reforms, according to Carney, include plans from the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to hold general elections in 2026, during which Hamas will be excluded, as well as efforts to demilitarize the future Palestinian state. However, the announcement drew sharp criticism from US President Donald Trump, who threatened that the decision could complicate ongoing trade negotiations between the two countries. US Special Envoy to the Middle East Steve Witkoff arrived in Israel on Thursday morning. Witkoff is scheduled to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later today, with discussions likely to focus on several key issues, including Gaza ceasefire negotiations, the return of the hostages held by Hamas, and Iran. This visit comes as Israeli officials warn that without significant progress in securing the release of the hostages, Israel may be forced to take further military action on the ground in Gaza. This report comes alongside the US Senate rejecting two resolutions aimed at blocking arms sales to Israel in response to civilian casualties in Gaza. In a controversial move, a group of Israeli ministers and Knesset members, alongside settler organizations, are urging Defense Minister Israel Katz to facilitate a tour of northern Gaza. This move is part of a broader call to explore the opportunities for settlement in the region. Among the signatories of the request are 6 government ministers, including Itamar Ben-Gvir and Amichai Eliyahu. The settler activist group Nachalah, led by Daniela Weiss, published a letter demanding the tour, stating that the northern sector of Gaza should be settled as part of what they describe as a first step toward reconquering and resettling the entire Gaza Strip. Indonesia's national curriculum has faced several changes in the curriculum content, namely subjects including Judaism and the Jewish people, Israel and the Holocaust, and minorities. J-Post desk correspondent Joni Margulies comments.
Textbooks in Indonesia's school curriculum are shifting to become more inclusive. With this, the content within their educational materials have become less anti-Semitic and anti-Israel when both the Jewish people and the State of Israel were formerly depicted as criminals. This could be a nod to the changing diplomatic relationship between Israel and the Southeast Asian nation with a large Muslim population.
An emphasis of nonviolent interpretations of jihad is placed in the textbooks, and a more open view on gender identity and members of the LGBT community. Crucially, content promoting anti-Semitic stereotypes of Jews as greedy, deceitful, or dishonest has been removed. For more on today's stories, check the description of this episode. For the latest news, updates, and analysis, head to jpost.com.